Good evening to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. We thank you so much for being with us. We begin right away with our major stories. It has been a very hectic day for users of the National Road number 5, that's the road stretch between Douala and Bafoussam. There has been dense traffic congestion on that highway that was since yesterday. Most people who left their houses in Douala at 5 a.m. are still on their way to Bafoussam, and all these difficulties were as a result of a road accident which blocked the road that was around Mbanga in the Mongo division of the Littoral region. And also the 15-member Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has resolved to activate its standby force to intervene in Niger. Viewers, those are our major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us on this edition of the news. My name is Anna Bilaleke. We just told you on the headlines that it has been a very hectic day for users of the National Road number 5, that is the road stretch from Douala to Bafoussam. There has been dense traffic congestion on that highway that was since last night as a result of a road accident which blocked the road around Banga. Let's now have more with Mala Glory.
Creeping along for hours, these vehicles on the National Road number 5 made their way on the hard struggle on a stretch of several kilometers. It is due to overspeeding that the vehicle lost control and hit the truck.
Nous ne méritons pas ça en fait, nous ne méritons pas ça. Avec le péage automatique qui a été fait là-bas, on met encore avec l'état.
We are on the Douala-Bafoussam highway. Passengers are exhausted as their vehicles got stuck here Thursday evening due to an accident that claimed the lives of 4 persons.
The motor automatically fait brakes. Because one more inside the motor from backward.
Passengers spend over 8 hours from Douala to the West region. This is because of the traffic jam around Banga that has blocked several vehicles. The accident involved a private vehicle that crashed into a heavy-duty truck. Witnesses blame the accident on overspeeding and bad roads. The crash took place about 5 p.m. Thursday, August 10, at the control post of Mbanga in the Littoral region. This comes after a heavy-duty truck lost control and got into the bush, thus blocking vehicles traveling to Bafoussam, Chang and other localities in the West region. In the time of this report, passengers were still waiting for circulation to be reinstated as security officials struggled to clear off the heavy-duty truck.
Now the situation has not really changed. The traffic situation on the National Road number 5 is still very dense as we speak. And now circulating in the city of Douala since the arrival of the rains is also really difficult, and motorcycle and taxi drivers accuse, or they say, the increase of the price of fuel is also the reason they have also increased the price of taxi fare in the city of Douala. Our reporter Cedric Chakuto went into the city of Douala to find out why the prices of taxi fare have increased.
Transporting yourself in the city of Douala has become difficult recently, especially as the rainy season intensifies. In the economic capital Douala, transport fare has increased.
Les motos augmentent les prix, c'est vrai.
Motorbike riders increase prices, it's true, but all comes from the increase of fuel. And you know, it is the poor Cameroonian that bears the consequences. I would wish that things get better.
Depuis le haut, qu'on essaie de voir la situation et qu'on essaie de corriger, parce que la population souffre.
Passengers complain bike riders are those who most often increase prices because of the weather. The riders on their part blame the rise on the increase in the price of fuel.
Le problème de carburant, on va taxer comme ça là. Et avec les embouteillages partout, avec la route qui est gâtée, on va faire comment? On est obligé de taxer.
It is fuel problem. We will tax it like that. Even 1,000 to Bonaberi, they will pay. The population say most times they prefer to trek than stand on the same spot to argue with the bike rider. At times when you discuss with them, they increase the price, saying that the distance was long. And when you arrive, they always complain. All in all, the locals are obliged to pay whatever amount is demanded as fare by either the bike riders or taxi drivers in Douala.
And the National Road number 1, the Mora-Dabanga-Kuseri stretch for years now has been a burden to some road users in the north region of the country due to its deplorable state. Many people say they spend at least 2 weeks to cover a very short distance. The governor of the region, Midiyawa Bakari, accuses truck drivers for continuously damaging the road. Mala Glory tells us more.
They used to say that once the road pass, development follow. Very soon, the rehabilitation of Mora Marwa Dabanga will be launched.
A statement which is expected as a dream come true to the population of the far north region. It is a daunting task plying the Mora Dabanga Kuseri stretch, as road users sometimes need at least 2 weeks to cover the 205-kilometer stretch, or even a month when it rains. The authorities blame truck drivers for damaging the already bad road.
And we cannot allow any person with such lorry to destroy our road. So we need instruct to sensitize, even to sanction.
For this reason, at least 32 heavy-duty trucks were intercepted by Governor Midiyawa Bakari, who equally accused truck drivers for not having their license. However, the authorities on their part promised the construction is on the way and will soon be made ready for the population.
And right now, the Sokolko company had been attributed 22 kilometers. They started with 3 kilometers. And the different part we have seen.
Meantime, 200 billion francs CFA have been made available by the World Bank for the construction of the Mora Dabanga Kuseri road. Expectations are thus high on the part of the population who look forward to get relief from the bad state of the road.
And now away from roads, we talk about the Anglophone crisis. The Prime Minister head of government is in Boya for the follow-up of the implementation of the recommendations of the major national dialogue. 12 resolutions were taken today as members of the follow-up committee for the national dialogue met for a first time to evaluate the process of that was put in place in 2021. The people of the southwest and northwest regions say action should be taken for people to believe in the government. Smart Ndikan Gabriel is in Boya.
Several hours of deliberation out here in Boya as Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute shared the 5th session of the follow-up committee for the national dialogue. I must tell you that the deliberation saw the intake from as clergymen. We had the Imam of Boya, we had also the Archbishop of Bamenda, the moderator of the PCC, who were all here to give their own contributions to what is happening. And that at the end of the deliberations out here at Boya, there were 12 resolutions, and one of the deliberations was the creation of the military camps around the Cameroon Development Corporation. The director of the Cameroon Development Corporation, Franklin Ngoninje, spoke to us and told us that this aspect of creating military camps around CDC camps will be a great move for the CDC to actually move up in terms of production, and why not help the workers to have daily salaries.
I'm optimistic that that will enhance our capacity to be more performant, in the sense that if we look at the recent past, we have had situations where when we succeed to get our workers to get back to the plantations, when they work during the day, they come back to their residential areas in the night, they are attacked. With the presence of such installations, I think it is going to be an enhancement to the security of our workers and our plantations. And if that is the case, it is certainly going to be a booster to our production.
Within the deliberation, there was also one that talked about the handing over of power to the local authorities, not only on papers, as they say that action must be taken to ensure that powers are being given to the different local authorities under decentralization. The reason why we have the Minister of Decentralization who took part in the 5th follow-up session of the National and Grand Dialogue out here in Boya. It is all ended, and most of the people here are hoping that not just the resolutions on paper, but it should be action, and action is what will make people to come close to them. In Boya, Francois Rodrigue Dikume, Smart Nchikan Gabriel for Equinoxe Television News.
Thank you, Smart. That session of today was presided over by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Dion-Gute. We are going to be listening to him in the excerpt which comes up next. That was after the 5th committee or the session to ensure that the resolutions of the Major National Dialogue are being implemented. Let's now listen to Chief Dr. Dion-Gute.
And for giving good coverage to this 5th committee meeting. The committee to implement the decisions of the Major National Dialogue. This particular meeting of today has been focused essentially on the economic recovery of the Northwest and Southwest regions. We had speakers from across the board from those two regions, economic operators, big businesses, small businesses, development agencies. And the conclusion which we arrive at is that a lot of water has gone under the bridge. In other words, a lot has been done. Economic recovery is afoot. It is going on. However, we are not yet there. There's still a lot of work to be done. And the participants of the meeting have made a number of very pertinent proposals which we shall factor in our notes and we shall present to the highest authority of the land, the President of the Republic, President Paul Biya, who we are certain is going to take the necessary measures to make sure that those proposals are put in place and that the recovery of the two regions becomes effective. I want to thank all those who attended, the religious leaders, the civil society leaders, the business leaders, some of whom even made some very important pledges. For example, one of them is going to redo the stadium in Kumba and the stadium in Bamenda. You know, these are very important things that we have seen today, and we are very thankful to all those who have participated.
Okay,
yes. No. First in French.
And also, the president of the National Episcopal Conference, who also doubles as the Archbishop for the Bamenda Archdiocese, His Grace Andrew Nkea Fonya, was also in Boya today. He says, all what the Anglophones want is to be listened to. Let's now listen to him in this excerpt.
From the time this major national dialogue took place, many resolutions were taken. And this is the 5th session of the implementation of the resolutions. I think all of you, those who are watching us would agree that where we are in 2023 is not where we were in 2019 when the major national dialogue took place. A lot has happened. We are enjoying relative peace, although there's still a lot of insecurity around. But peace is a gift. And peace is the result of collective effort. So we cannot relent in our efforts to continue to work for peace, to continue to work for justice, and to continue to work for development. One of the things I want to mention is that a lot of resolutions have been taken. What is very important now, especially after this 5th session of our meeting, is the implementation, the practical application of those resolutions. Very beautiful resolutions. Many decrees have been signed, but we have to translate these decrees and resolutions from theory to practice. And like I said in the hall, all these decrees and resolutions must be seen to impact the lives of the common people. Otherwise, whether you talk about special status or you talk about decentralization, the people will think that it's just another word on television that means nothing in their daily lives. So for me, we are moving on to a level where we must translate what has already been decided into practical elements that will impact the lives of the common people. The last point I want to bring out is that, like I mentioned again, dialogue is not an event, it is a process. When you start dialoguing, you don't just dialogue and go. The dialogue must be ongoing. And that is why, as religious leaders, we think that nobody should shy away from dialogue, no matter who mediates it or no matter who initiates it. We must continue dialoguing at home and abroad to make sure that we try to find a middle ground where this problem will be solved peacefully and Cameroonians will continue to live and love one another as we used to do before. There is no country without problems, but no problems are really solved with the gun. And we have insisted all the time and said no to violence, no to killings. But you still see them will not be tired. In season and out of season, we'll continue insisting no violence, no killings, no matter who initiates it. Thank you very much.
In other news, ahead of the celebration of the Feast of the Assumption that would be on the 15th of August, the 14th of August, which is a Monday, has been declared a public holiday in Cameroon, and economic operators in the country are worried about the economic consequences whenever a public holiday is declared in the country. They say the nation loses about 11 billion francs CFA. As Immaculate Fogwe tells us in the report, it comes up next.
Lendi, a neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision, at the verge of being cut off from other parts of the city of Douala, not far from a place called Maison Blanche, the main road connecting several other neighborhoods is gradually eroding, putting the lives of those living around at risk. The partial collapse was provoked by floods triggered by heavy rains.
You can see what we have been going through here for the past few months. This road just got collapsed for some time now, and I am a neighbor here. This is my house. So it is very dangerous and very catastrophic for us and our children around. It started from there, but now it's already here. And since it's already here, that's the same way. When it crosses the road now, people who are here, who have vehicles, who have bikes, they will have no opportunity to cross. Only those who are pedestrians will be able to cross.
Just like in Lendi, residents of Bangé, still in the Douala 5 subdivision, express fear of an imminent landslide that looms in the area. Those living on this semi-cliff risk being victims. Another major preoccupation of denizens of Bangé is the bad state of the road, which is affecting circulation. Another area where the threat of possible landslide is visible is at the Cité de Palmiers neighborhood, where the primary school found just a stone throw away from the ravine. Parents advance concerns about the safety of their children who have to cross over the ravine when going to school come September 2023.
Like this is school that is resuming. You know the number of students who are going to the lycée. We have not or less than 800 students who live from this destination to the public lycée which is there. So it is very dangerous. I myself, or everybody that is living here, we are living in fear because any day it can continue getting broken, and when it gets broke, it is devastated or it is very disastrous for us.
Locals are denouncing the nonchalant attitude of council authorities with respect to their challenges. They are urging authorities to help save them out of troubled waters.
That was Immaculate Fogwe reporting on the problems of those living in some risk zones here in Douala. And now the Bishop of the Bafoussam Diocese, His Lordship Paul Lonsi Kene, has called on prison warders and prison guards to treat inmates with love, consideration and care, considering the fact that most prisons in Cameroon are now very congested and unsecured. His Lordship Paul Lonsi Kene was speaking during his visit to the Bafoussam Central Prison, as Luciliengu Esia tells us in this report.
The overcrowded nature of Cameroonian prisons has over the years exposed inmates to health hazards and insecurity. Knowing the challenges faced by inmates in Cameroon, the Bishop of the Bafoussam Diocese, His Lordship Paul Lonsi Kene, visits the Bafoussam Central Prison. He urged the inmates to repent from all their iniquities. You need to be liberated from the prison of sin, which has entangled you all. Because if we are in prison, we weeks of getting used to it. Reason we need to be liberated. Some people are liberated but find themselves coming back here because they are used to the prison. He equally called on prison warders to treat detainees with love, considering the fact that they do not have the best of life.
Traitez ces frères-là comme vos enfants. Aimez-les. Même s'il n'est pas facile d'aimer, aimez-les.
Treat them with love, even if it is not easy. Also, you need to help them as inmates to love you too. Also, respect the rules and regulations here. We all are prisoners, but imagine if everyone was to be a prisoner. Prisons will be very congested.
Il n'y aurait pas de la place. Regardez déjà. Le régisseur ne l'a pas dit, mais on sent que vous êtes à l'étroit ici.
Aside preaching, the man of God shared items in order to commune with them. The action carried out is a way of ameliorating the living conditions of inmates in Cameroon.
And now we take you to our Northwest Regional Headquarters of Bamenda to meet Mbu Stella, who tells us that some bandits of vehicles and vehicle spare parts have been arrested in the Northwest Regional Headquarters. She says vehicles or vehicle theft has been very rampant in Bamenda of recent. Hello Stella, you tell us more.
It has been unending hardship for these vehicle owners since their vehicles were stolen some months ago.
I've been taking a loan before pay this motor. So it will be really easy for me. I default my loan like 4 times. Even up till now, my loan still under delinquency. So now the difficulties that I face, even my family don't starve. But I know, say from now, so I go try to recover back.
Mind you, this car was just about 11 days old after we bought it, and it was stolen. So it was actually very stressful and it was sad.
The 4 vehicles were stolen from the Northwest and West regions and later recovered by the police in different areas in Mezam and Babajou. The police took some months to monitor and recover the vehicles, acting with clues found in this CCTV image and tip-offs.
We received some complaints of theft of cars. So many investigations has been opened here in our unit. Then we succeed to recover four cars during the month of July.
The police say car theft is gaining grounds in Bamenda. They are therefore calling on the population to denounce these activities by reporting the incidents.
Just to invite them to come to us, the police, to have the confidence on us and to come to us, the police, to denounce all what they can have, where we can help.
The vehicle owners were at the premises of the Central Police Station in Bamenda to recover the vehicles which had been sprayed with different colors. Meanwhile, those arrested in connection to car theft will face the punishments for their crimes.
We talk education. It has been noticed that some educational institutions perform excellently well in end-of-course examinations. And what is their secret to this success consistently? Our reporter Cedric Chokutu attempts an answer.
Schools in Cameroon for several years have been able to distinguish themselves in official examinations. Among such schools are Catholic institutions, which is the case of Collège François Xavier Vogt, a college in Yaoundé, who this year has once again been able to stand out very impressive results. We are grateful. It is exceptional. But you know, before we go for exams, we thank God And even after, we thank him again, because without God, we can't do anything. For Lieberman, a college created since 1957 under the leadership of the 18 fathers and brothers, their success is thanks to the follow-up of their students.
Teachers, the administrations and parents, and the student is at the center. So parents, teachers and administration working together hand to hand, we come to a better result. We have to tackle some tests. I personally, what I used to say to them, that when you have your test, don't rush. Calm down. If possible, take a time to pray. You might be not Christian, but take a time to quiet yourself. And after all, go through the test, read it fully, thoroughly.
Moreover, one cannot talk about success without outlining the role of discipline. And for this college, discipline is primordial in ensuring the success of their students. Another major aspect taken into consideration is the quality of teachers recruited by the institutions.
So indeed, there is the discipline master. But when we mean that we inculcate to the students the self-discipline to control what they want to achieve.
Heads of both institutions are denouncing accusations that they are involved in some examination malpractices that gives their students an upper hand in public examinations.
I think from Lieberman, this could be a rumor, and it is a rumor, because if you know...
For them, a continuous success lies in a good preparation.
And now we take you out of our national frontiers. The 15-member Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has resolved to activate its standby force in response to the recent coup in Niger, while underscoring its continued commitment to restore constitutional order in the country through peaceful means. This came out of an extraordinary summit of the bloc that was held in the Nigerian capital city of Abuja. For me, Armstrong Sander has the details.
Statement at the end of an extraordinary summit in the Nigerian capital of Abuja, the regional bloc reiterates its strong condemnation of the coup in Niger, saying it will uphold all measures and principles agreed upon by the urgent ECOWAS summit on July the 30th, 2023. The 15-member country bloc also said it will enforce all sanction measures, in particular border closure and strict travel ban on all individuals and groups whose actions hinder peaceful efforts to restore constitutional order in Niger. The sub-regional bloc said all options are on the table for the peaceful resolution of the crisis in Niger and warned member states against directly or indirectly hindering the peaceful resolution of the crisis. This move by West African bloc members to mobilize the regional standby force followed the refusal of Niger's military junta to cede power to ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. The primary objective of the regional standby force is to restore stability and order while facilitating the return to constitutional governance in Niger, according to Omar Aliou Touré, president of the ECOWAS Commission. The military in Niger detained President Bazoum on July 26, 2023 and chose Abdurrahman Tiani, former leader of the country's presidential guard, to lead the National Council for the Safeguard of Homeland, a governing body established by the soldiers after the coup, which has been since exercising legislative and executive authority. The coup, the third of its kind in West Africa in 3 years, has drawn condemnations from many African countries which view the unconstitutional change of power as a threat to stability and the development of the continent. The international community fears instability in the Sahel region will breed extremism. The Economic Community of West African States meeting in Abuja, Nigeria, held without the presence of delegation and the leaders of some member countries, notably the Republic of Guinea-Conakry, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger.
Thank you for me. With that report, we call it quits to this edition of the news. Thank you, viewers, for always being there, and enjoy the rest of your weekend in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.